Hey guys, Lemju here, and welcome to my video on the newest Minecraft update 1.8. In this video I will attempt to show you every single change and feature that has been made on the journey from 1.7 back in October 2013 to here today, and I'll be giving you a brief description of the mechanics behind each feature. This video will not cover the minor bug fixes nor the many awesome new commands that have been added to the command blocks. Instead, those will be linked in the description down below. So, without further ado, let's get this video rolling. Difficulty is now saved per world, which means no more will you accidentally log into your worlds in peaceful and lose all of your hostile mob pets. Mr. Tentacles, I miss you, man. On the topic of difficulty can now be locked per world. Resource packs have been updated, so now you can actually modify the block models. This means that the community can now create nifty changes to things like bookcases and rails and actually make them appear 3D. So cool. Due to the new way that blocks are rendered, X-ray resource packs will no longer work. There is a new option in the settings section which allows you to turn on alternative blocks. This feature randomly rotates the textures of grass, dirt, TNT stone, netherrack bedrock, sand and red sand to differentiate the blocks from each other and make the landscape look a bit more realistic. You can now have a render distance of up to 32 chunks. A new achievement has been added to the game known as Overpowered. You can obtain it by crafting a notch apple. Red sandstone is now a thing, including its alternatives. Some new statistics have been added. The game now tracks the amount of meters moved while shifted and while sprinting, how much time you spent talking to villagers, how many times you traded with villagers, and how much time has passed since your last death. A fourth game mode known as Spectator mode has been added. In this game mode you essentially become completely anonymous. You can't interact with any blocks or entities. You become completely invisible. You may fly, and if you use the scroll wheel on your mouse you can actually change the speed at which you fly. There are also a few nifty features this game mode provides that others don't. For example, there's actually an interface for teleporting to other players, as well as if you actually right click on a player or a mob you can actually access their point of view and see what they see. Certain mobs of the world have different perspectives. Overall, this game mode is very useful for testing mob designs and of course spectating people on mini-game servers and all that jazz. The F3 debug screen has been improved. It now has a grey background behind text to make it easier to read. The XYZ coordinates have been moved onto one line. The number of days passed in a world are now tracked. The user's GPU is now displayed. The crosshair has been improved to show all X, Y and Z axes. Red for X, green for Y and blue for Z. The block you're now looking at will bring up a bunch of information about it and its state. The difficulty is now shown in the F3, peaceful being 0, easy being 0.075, normal being 1.5 and hard being 2.25, and overall the F3 screen is just packed full of a lot more useful information. Pressing F3 and H now also brings up how many MBT tags an item has. Pressing F3 and D now clears the chat. And pressing F3 and T will reload models. Resource packs can now be bundled with a world saved. If renamed to resources.zip within the world file, this means that custom maps can now come with a resource pack without you having to download it separately or install it. Block IDs have been completely changed from numbered IDs to with the actual name of the block, so now if you want to say give yourself some diamonds, you just do this. Customizable world types have been improved, so now you can actually really mess with the core generation settings of Minecraft. There are options for increasing spawns of ore, structures, height of mountains, what biome you spawn in, how many biomes, and will allow you to create some really crazy worlds. A debug world type that shows every single block and its variant has been added to the game. In order to get access to it, you must hold shift whilst toggling through the customizable world types. This world is extremely laggy for people with the weaker computers, but it is extremely useful for resource pack makers. Caves now finally spawn at the surface of desert, mesa, mega taiga and mushroom biomes. Desert temples now spawn with stained clay instead of dyed wool. The generation of swamps has been slightly tweaked to make the borders of swamps look a lot more marsh-like. And the sun texture has been changed to look a lot more brighter. The end of the world, aka the Farlands, aka 30 million blocks from spawn, now officially has an animated world border as opposed to an invisible force field. There is now nothing beyond the world border, the world just simply cuts off. You can now use commands to set your own world border. This is actually pretty useful for things like UHCs. Skins have been updated, so now textures of limbs such as arms and legs are now independent from each other and even have a second layer. On top of that, you can even control which layer is visible in the options menu. So this means if you're feeling hot on a summer's day, you can just simply click your options, skin customization, and you can just take off all of these and boom! Ah, damn apps. Server lists have been updated, so that now there are buttons on top of the image or server icon. There is also now a default server icon, which is this one. So if your server doesn't have your own customized server icon like these ones, it will just have this one. The arrows allow you to organize the servers by basically moving them up and down, and the big play button will allow you to join them. On top of that, you can actually customize the network compression now in the server.properties. Fast graphics has been slightly improved, I guess you could say. The grass texture is as it is in Fancy, and items no longer are rendered in 2D but are in fact 3D. Command blocks in a minecart. In creative mode, you can now pick block things such as command blocks and books, and they will keep their extra data, as you can see. Spawners can now be right-clicked with a spawner egg to change what mob is spawned. Tab has been improved to organise its players by name, group, etc. It will even squish health together to fit on the tab list. And players' faces can now be displayed in the tab. Signs, beds, beacons, and chests and heads now display the breaking animation. Mobs now show a slightly different colour when hurt, and also, if wearing armour, the colour will not show over the armour. Players in survival mode can no longer access the command interface in command blocks. Melons now finally break faster with an axe. Chiselled stone bricks are now craftable using 2 stone brick slabs on top of each other. Mossy stone bricks can now be crafted with 1 stone brick and 1 vine. Mossy cobblestone can now be crafted with 1 block of cobblestone and 1 vine. Cracked stone bricks can now be obtained by smelting regular stone bricks. Books have been improved to be capable of using click event tags and hover event tags. Signs no longer have a max number of characters, but instead will base it on the actual width of each pixel within each individual letter or symbol. A new barrier block has been added to the game. These blocks function as essentially similar to that of bedrock. They can be placed, they are indestructible. One cool thing about this is that they are completely invisible. If you don't hold one in your hand, you cannot see them. Yeah, they're just completely invisible, just an invisible wall. But if you do hold one in your hand, you can actually see them, which is quite nifty. Granite, diorite and andesite are 3 new blocks that are generated throughout the Minecraft terrain. Granite can be crafted with 1 nether quartz and 1 diorite. Diorite can be crafted with 2 cobblestone and 2 nether quartz in this fashion. Andesite can be crafted with 1 cobble and 1 diorite. Polished granite can be crafted by using 4 granite in a shape like this. Polished andesite can be crafted with 4 andesite. And polished diorite can also be crafted with 4 diorite. The polished variants look really nice, and I can see them being used in lots of builds. When a written book is copied, it will mark them as a copy. When a copy is copied, it will mark them as a copy of a copy. And copies of copies cannot be copied any further because even plagiarism has its limits in Minecraft. Cursed dirt is a brand new dirt variant type which can be found in mesa biomes and mega taigas. It can be crafted with gravel and dirt in this fashion here. Grass and mycelium cannot grow on coarse dirt, but saplings and flowers can be placed on it. A new enchantment known as Depth Strider has been added to the game. It goes up to tier 3, and when added to boots, it enables you to swim faster underwater. Endermites are a new hostile mob that have been added to the game. Similar to silverfish, these purple little blobs like to spin. They spawn rarely from ender pearls and endermen when damaged. And that's about it. They don't drop any items as of yet, and are the only mob that despawns within 2 minutes unless they are named with a name tag. Endermites used to be hostile with endermen, or at least endermen used to hate them, but now it looks like they get along just fine. Sadly. Rabbits are a new passive mob that have been added to the game. They are scared of the player much like ocelots and come in very different colours. When killed, they drop rabbit hide, which can be crafted into leather. They also drop raw rabbit, which on their own can heal 3 hunger points, but can be cooked to create cooked rabbit, which then heals 5 hunger points. Rabbits also have a rare chance of dropping a rabbit's foot, which can be used to brew one of the brand new potions, Potion of Leaping. Rabbits can also be and bred with dandelions, golden carrots, and normal carrots. When bred, rabbits are already tamed. Cooked rabbit is used in the crafting recipe of rabbit stew, and rabbit stew is one of the best food items in the game, healing 10 hunger points. Although I say rabbits aren't hostile, there is a 1 in 1,000 chance that a killer rabbit of Carbonog would spawn. And I actually have one right here. Get close to it and it will kick your ass. Does quite a lot of damage. And yeah. Looting 3 now has an increased chance of dropping rare loot, which is especially useful against withers and rabbits, in order to get witherheads and a rabbit's foot. They have finally made it so that when you're in a portal you can actually escape. So now when you're portal trapped you aren't completely stuck. A new dungeon-like generated structure has been added to the game, known as ocean monuments. These large structures spawn in deep oceans and are made up of some of the new blocks in the game. They house a treasure of 8 gold blocks, and some of the rooms in there actually contain sponge blocks, which have since been added to the game. These things are guarded by 2 of the newest mobs. The first up is a Guardian mob. This is the first hostile underwater mob in the game. They swim very fast and apparently don't like squid. They attack by shooting lasers at the enemy, and once the beam has been charged, it zaps them, dealing a decent amount of damage. And when killed, they drop fish, prismarine crystals, and shards, and they only spawn around ocean monuments. Also guarding these monuments are the 3 Elder Guardians. There are always 3 Elder Guardians per ocean monument, and they do not respawn. They're a stronger, more buff version of the regular Guardians, and when killed, drop wet sponge. Elder Guardians also cast mining fatigue on the player, which makes it difficult to get into the ocean monument or break out of it. So if you want to rip the ocean monument down for all of its blocks, you must first take out the 3 Elder Guardians. As previously mentioned, sponge blocks have finally been implemented into survival with an updated texture. They are found in ocean monuments and dropped from Elder Guardians and are used to absorb water. It does so within a 5x5x5 radius from themselves in a sphere sort of shape, and once used the sponge is turned into a wet sponge, which then needs to be smelted into a furnace in order to return back to a normal sponge block. Prismarine crystals and prismarine shards are dropped by Guardians. Prismarine shards placed in a 2x2 creates a prismarine block. Prismarine shards placed in a 3x3 creates a prismarine brick. And prismarine and ink sacs placed in this fashion here can create dark prismarine. Sea lanterns can also be crafted with the prismarine crystals and the prismarine shards placed in this fashion here. Sea lanterns work just like glowstone, and they also have a animated texture. Sheep now finally drop mutton when killed. Raw mutton on its own only heals 2 hunger points, however cooked mutton heals 6 hunger points. Slime blocks have been added to the game. They are crafted like so. Slime blocks are awesome because you can actually bounce on them. Mobs are also bouncy. And if you put items on a piston, they also get launched. And they actually stick to blocks. They can stick to lots of blocks, as you can see. They also stick to themselves, which means you can do things like this and move an entire thing. If the blocks required to be pulled are over the capacity of 12, however, they will not pull the block, but say you remove all this, it will actually move it, which is awesome. There is actually a lot of potential for stuff like this. People have even made moving like machines. Paintings have been improved so that placing it isn't as painful as before. Buttons can now be placed on the floor and ceiling. Items in item frames can now be placed in 8 different directions, and if an item is broke or taken out of an item frame and placed back in, the item frame will remember its previous orientation. Comparators can now detect what way an item is rotated and now give off a redstone signal depending on the orientation. Activator rails now shake minecarts when powered by redstone. What this actually does is dispenses players automatically, and it even works on mobs. Minecarts with TNT shot with a flame bow will now explode. Dead shrubs are now flammable. When a huge mushroom is harvested with a silk touch, it now drops the corresponding mushroom's main block. Blaze rods are now held like an item or a tool. Iron and wooden doors will now give 3 doors instead of 1. They are also now stackable up to 64. Trapdoors are now wooden trapdoors, and that is because iron trapdoors are now a thing. These things work just like iron doors, as they cannot be opened by human hand. They need redstone to work. When right-clicking a daylight sensor, you can now invert it. Furnaces now only accept fuel into the fuel slot. You cannot get it in. Also, when the fuel of the furnace actually runs out, the little bar reverses back at 2 times the speed as opposed to just stopping. So, if you're quick, you can actually catch it and not lose the fuel. You can now spawn in player heads, and when you wear them, they actually go over the top of the head and hat layer. So before, if I were to say, let's say spawn in, who could we spawn in? If we spawn in monsters, if I wear it, you'll see my hair does not go over it. Wither skulls are now 3D. Skeleton, zombie and creeper heads are now obtainable in survival. The only way to have a skeleton, zombie or creeper drop its head is to have it be killed by a charged creeper. This also works on withers. And there you have it. Now, if you were to gather a bunch of skeletons and have them all die to a charged creeper explosion, you would still only get 1 skelly head. That is because, no matter what, a charged creeper explosion only gives 1 head. Sadly. When a villager is struck by lightning, he transforms into a witch. Hay bales now accelerate the growth of baby horses faster. Wolves now try to kill skeletons for their bones, and skeletons will run away. This also works for wither skeletons. When you tame a wolf, the default colour of the collar is now orange instead of red. And now if you kill a tamed cat or a tamed wolf that is renamed, its death message will actually show up. Hostile mobs will now run from detonating creepers. If you feed a baby animal its breeding item, it will speed up the growth of the animal. Baby animals, with the exception of chicks, suck at swimming. Zombie pigmen will forgive the players after a short amount of time, but will continue to attack the player until they escape aggro distance. Angry zombie pigmen can now actually pathfind. Endermen can also now pathfind and apparently will now walk faster. Armor on giants are now actually rendered. Pressing F3 and B will now not only bring up the hitbox but also their line of sight. Spiders and cave spiders can no longer draw a line of sight through opaque blocks. Blazes will now shoot at players even if blocks are between them. They're relentless. Dispensers can now place command blocks. Slime and magma slime can now swim. Unless they of course are the baby slimes, in which case they cannot. Dispensers can also place wither heads. and pumpkins. Oh, and this also works for snow golems. Iron golems and withers can now be spawned in any orientation. The way the game generates or loads villages has changed a bit, which won't break iron farms, but it will tweak them enough to make them practically pointless, according to Mojang. It's now possible to get tier 5 enchants on stuff like sharpness and bane of arthropods without the need of an anvil. It now takes longer to level up. Baked potatoes now restore 5 hunger points instead of 6, and carrots now restore 3 hunger points instead of 4. Villagers can now spawn with up to 3 trades unlocked off the bat. Villagers and trading have been completely revamped. There are now professions which are now displayed in the GUIs of the trade tab. You now get XP from trading with villagers. Trades will now lock instantly. Trades can now be unlocked by just simply trading something else. Unlocking new trades has become a lot easier. Sometimes you can complete one trade and he'll unlock 3, if you're lucky. Villager trading has been completely rewritten. Some trades have been removed, some trades have been added, and out of the 12 new villager professions, I'm going to go show you every single trade possible. First up, librarians. These guys will exchange paper in return for emeralds. They'll accept books and emeralds in return for an enchanted book. They'll actually do this trade 3 times. They'll accept books in exchange for emeralds. You can buy a compass off them for emeralds. You can buy a bookcase off of them for emeralds. You can give them your autograph and they'll give you an emerald. You can buy clocks off of them. You can buy glass off of them. As you can see, this is another one of the trades that they could potentially give you. And lastly, you can buy name tags off of librarians now. And that is it. That is all the possible trades for a librarian. Alright, next up is a cleric. These creepy guys will buy rotten flesh off of you for emeralds. They'll buy gold off of you for emeralds. You can buy redstone dust off of them. You can buy lapis off of them now. You can buy an eye of ender off of them for emeralds. And you can buy glowstone off of them in exchange for emeralds. You can also buy bottles of enchanting. And that is it. Those are all the trades you can get with a cleric. Next up, fletchers. These guys will buy string off of you in exchange for emeralds, which is awesome. You can buy arrows off of them in exchange for emeralds. You can also buy a bow off of them. And you can actually exchange gravel and emeralds in return for gravel. So he'll convert your gravel into flint. Awesome. That is all the trades for fletchers. Next up is a shepherd. These guys will buy white wool off of you for emeralds, and don't think about giving them brown wool or trying any other colour. They only want white wool, which is totally understandable for the upcoming trade. So they'll buy white wool off of you for emeralds. You can buy shears off of them for emeralds, and they will sell every single coloured piece of wool for emeralds. Every colour, which is awesome. Saves you on dye. So that is every single trade for a shepherd. Next up, armor. These guys will buy your coal in exchange for emeralds. You can buy iron helmets off of them for emeralds. You can also give them your iron ingots in exchange for emeralds. You can buy iron chest plates off of them for emeralds. You can give them diamonds in exchange for emeralds. You can buy diamond chest plates with a random enchantment on them for emeralds. You can buy all of the chained armor off of them for emeralds, and that is it. That is all of the trades for an armor. Next up, fishermen. These guys will buy your string in exchange for emeralds. They'll buy coal in exchange for emeralds. They'll buy fish and emeralds in exchange for cooking them. And you can actually buy enchanted fishing rods off of them. And that is all of the enchants a fisherman will give you. Not enchants, trades. Next up, toolsmiths. These guys are awesome. You can sell them your coal in exchange for emeralds. You can buy a random enchant on an iron shovel. You can give them your iron ingot in exchange for emeralds. You can buy a randomly enchanted iron pick. You can give them diamonds for emeralds. And you can buy a randomly enchanted diamond pick. Those are all the trades for a toolsmith. Next up, leather workers. These guys, you can sell your leather in exchange for emeralds. If you need a new pair of pants after seeing all these awesome trades, you can buy some pants off of them in exchange for emeralds. You can also buy an enchanted leather tunic. And you can buy saddles off of these guys. awesome trade. Next up is a weaponsmith. These guys are also pretty awesome. You can sell them your coal in exchange for emeralds. You can buy an iron axe off of them. You can give them iron in exchange for emeralds. You can give them diamonds in exchange for emeralds. You can buy a randomly enchanted iron sword, and you can buy a randomly enchanted diamond sword and a randomly enchanted diamond axe, which is awesome. Next up, farmers. These guys are probably going to be your main source of emeralds. You can give them your wheat and they'll buy it off of you for emeralds. You can sell them your potatoes and they'll buy it off of you for emeralds. You can sell them your carrots in exchange for emeralds. You can buy bread off of them. You can sell them pumpkins in exchange for emeralds. You can buy pumpkin pie off of them for emeralds. You can sell your melon blocks away for emeralds. And you can buy apples off of them. You can buy cookies. And finally, you can buy cake. Yes, cake off of them for emeralds, which is awesome. And the last profession, which is a butcher, these guys will buy pork off of you for emeralds. You can sell them your raw chicken for emeralds. You can sell them your coal for emeralds, and you can buy cooked pork off of them and cooked chicken off of them for emeralds, which is awesome. And that wraps up every single trade for each profession as of 1.8. Villager breeding has been changed slightly, so now you actually have to have traded with the villagers in order for them to breed. Farmer villagers will now harvest and replant potatoes, wheat and carrots. Farmer villagers now have 9 inventory slots that can be only taken up by wheat, potatoes, carrots or seeds. If you give them seeds, potatoes or carrots, they'll actually go and replant them. The rest of the villagers also have inventory slots, and if you actually give them either potatoes, carrots or bread, they can actually become more willing to breed. Anvils have been completely revamped. In general, everything is a lot cheaper. Renaming and repairing items can now be done up to 6 times per item, which is actually really awesome. Combining enchants and renaming is a lot cheaper now. If you actually try to rename an item, it will start out costing 1 level and it will double from then. And yeah, in general, anvils are just a lot better now. The enchanting system has been completely revamped. Now if you wish to enchant something, it will actually tell you what enchantment you're going to get for each level. So here it says I'll get Sharpness, Fire Aspect or Bane of Arthropods, level 4. Now you'll see they're all blacked out. Now in order to actually enchant, I need Lapis. So if I put 1 Lapis in here, it will let me do that. And in order to get the level 30 Bane of Arthropods, I'll need to put 3 Lapis in, and it will unlock all of them. And now I can go ahead and do that, and it won't take away 30 levels, it will actually just take away 3 levels. As you can see, 489, now it's 486, which is, in my opinion, is a lot better. It's going to take a while for you to get used to this, but I'll try and explain it again in a bit more detail. So, again, once you enchant something, the trades will roll again and completely randomize. And now I have Sharpness 3, Power 3, or Unbreaking 1. And if I wanted to say Unbreaking 1, I just put 1 in, and it would only cost 1 level. If I wanted Power 3, it would only take away 2 levels, and all that jazz. Now say I don't want any of these. Well, if I don't want that, I could just change my item, and it will give me, change my tool, say to a bow, and it will give me different enchants. Affinity is an awesome enchant for 2 levels. But say I didn't want any of those, I could then change to armor. If I didn't want any of those, I could change to like a helmet or something, or some boots, armor, chest plates, boots, helmets, pickaxe, weapons, and bows and books are all different, and fishing rods. They're all different. So if you simply don't like the enchant choices you've been given, say I don't like Unbreaking 3. Well, I could just throw in some diamond boots and get feather falling on it. And then when I go to enchant something again, it'll say projectile protection 4. Now, just because it has 1 enchant listed, it could also have multiple enchants listed. You see the ... question mark? Yes, so I could get projectile protection off this level 30 and also end up with, say, Unbreaking 3, but I didn't know because I'm unlucky. Let's try and get more than 1 enchant so I can show you. So the Aqua Affinity, there, see, it said I was going to get Aqua Affinity, but it didn't tell me I was going to get Fire Protection, Unbreaking 3 and Respiration 3 on that. So yeah, it takes a bit of a while to get used to, but yeah, it's actually quite awesome. Silk Touch, I I want fortune. Let me just enchant a book. Yeah, fortune. Oh, and I got Unbreaking 3. So yeah, that's kind of the enchantment table setup. There are some tutorials better explaining that. But yeah, so the enchanting setup has been completely revamped. Banners have been added to the game. They're crafted with a stick and 6 of the same coloured wool. Depending on what coloured wool you use, will be the base colour for the banner. So here I've used white wool and I'll get a white banner. Now banners are much similar to signs. They actually sway in the wind ever so slightly, as you can see there. And yeah, they can be placed in multiple orientations, like this, like that. And they are very awesome. Now, banners are a decorative block. You're actually supposed to use any of the 16 dies to actually put a pattern on them. There are 400 to the power of 6 different patterns you could potentially do. Millions more. So many different combinations. I'm going to show you every single potential pattern or symbol that is possible with these things. Now, you can only do 6 layers. So keep that in mind, but if you screw up, do not fear, because one fancy thing you can do with cauldrons that are filled is if you dip them in here, you'll remove a layer, as you can see, which is fantastic. Alright, so I'm going to show you every single potential pattern and or symbol you can do with banners. So first up, gradients. If you actually put a banner like this and do a pattern like that with your die, you can get a gradient on the bottom or a gradient on the top, like so. And they actually look like this and like that. They look pretty awesome. Enchanted golden apples on banners bring up the Mojang logo. Oxeye daisies bring up a sun-like logo. Wither skulls bring up skull and crossbones. A creeper head will bring up a creeper face. Bricks will bring up a brick kind of background. Vines will bring up a spiky border. The banner in the center and die around it like this will bring up a plain border around your banner. Banner in the middle and die in the shape like this will bring up a diamond sort of shape. Banner in the bottom center with a die in the middle will bring up a circle in the center. Die in this fashion brings up spikes on the top of the banner. Similarly, do a pattern like this and you'll get spikes at the bottom. If you put die in this fashion, you'll get a triangle. Putting it like this, you'll get a triangle facing upwards as opposed to down. Just putting one die in the top right will put a square in the top right. Same as the top left, the bottom right, or the bottom left. Putting 6 die in a fashion like this will paint half the banner. This recipe will do the top half. A die in a fashion like this will do half the banner. And you can invert this by doing it like that. A pattern like this does a diagonal sort of feel, or a right angle triangle depending on how you look at it. You can do that the same like that and you'll invert that. And obviously like this too to do it like that. Or like that. Another shape you can do is a cross, or you could do a diagonal cross like that. A pattern like this will actually give you stripes. Die like that will give you a straight diagonal line. You can also do it like this. If you want a straight line through a middle, just do a straight line through a middle. Same with the top and the bottom and vertical. And if you like a banner design that much and you want a second one and you don't want to have to go through the tedious process of repainting it, so to speak, you can actually put your banner in a crafting grid and get another banner with the same base color and put it next to it like this, and you'll get a second banner. Armor stands have been added to the game. They're crafted with 6 sticks and a stone slab in this fashion here. They stack to 16. And in order to place your armor on the armor stand, you simply right click with the armor in your hand. To get it back, simply right click on it again. You can also put player heads on it. And pumpkins can be placed on it. They can also be put in minecarts. They're also affected by gravity. Dispensers can also equip armor stands. Beacon beams have been improved, so now they can actually pass through transparent blocks. When a beacon beam now passes through stained glass, it changes colour. Another cool thing about this is if it passes through more than one stained glass, the colour actually merges, so blue and yellow makes green. This means you can make actually a variety of colours, which is pretty cool. The crafting recipe for fences has been changed. You now need 4 planks and 2 sticks, and you will get 3 instead of 2 now. They've also added new variants of wood fences. You can now craft acacia fences, spruce fences, birch fences, dark oak fences, and jungle fences. The same can be said for fence gates. A long-standing bug has been fixed with the health bar animation. When you take damage now, it flashes slightly red to show you how much damage has been dealt. And also when you heal, it flashes again. That was actually a bug that has been on since 1.3, which is a long time. But that is now finally fixed. As well as fence variants, there are also brand new door variants. If you craft a door with a different type of wood other than oak, you will get these brand new doors. There's a door for each subtype of wood, and they all look completely different. Dark oak looks like this, jungle wood looks like this, birch looks like this, and spruce, which I think looks the best. Void fog has been completely removed from the game. Iron golems will now attack creepers. Last but not least, 1.8 has had a lot of optimization and performance increases, so the game should run a lot smoother and feel a lot more fluid. You may also notice little texture changes to things such as apples and enchanted items. They now appear a little bit darker. And mobs, when they are hit, they're knocked back slower. The black shadow bug, that's been fixed. And yeah, frames just a lot higher, chunks rendering a lot smoother. And overall 1.8 is just a leap forward in terms of performance increases, which is super awesome. So that wraps it up. Those are all the features added in 1.8. Hopefully you enjoyed the video and you found it to be very informative and helpful. As I said, all of the fancy new command blocks and bug fixes are linked in the description down below if you want to go check those out. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to tell me in the comment section down below, and maybe we could see another one of these for 1.9. And if you really liked it, then maybe you'll be interested in all of my other videos, in which case check them out and subscribe. Anywho, thank you guys for watching. I am Lamdrew. See yous.